One thing I've noticed has changed a little bit in the industry is with the principle of reverse dieting. And I know at one point, I think all of 3DMJ, and then we're doing it. And most people I talk to kind of were on board with that. And it seems it's shifted a little bit now. And I know a lot of people I talk to say after a contest, they like to just jump up with a solid 5% of their body weight or so. And I believe you still do the very slow approach up. So I'm wondering why, I guess, like why you're still doing that and you think other people have shifted away.
It chopped up there a little bit, so I'm going to try to do my best. I think a lot of people, you said a lot of people were on board with it, and now people kind of shifted away a little bit.
Yeah, and they kind of jump up a little faster after contest.
Yeah, so I think there's the idea that there's one way to reverse diet. There's not. You can have a more aggressive reverse, or you can have a more conservative reverse, and it just depends on what your goals are and what you like. I know Eric Helms is big on being aggressive after being in a deficit.
Yeah.
I think I like to talk to my clients and try to figure. I have one client. She really likes being lean. Like that's her. She's told me, she's like, I know I have to be more restrictive. I know that it means I can't go out to eat as much. I know that it means I'm not going to be able to eat as much. But she's not like where she's like on an amount of calories that's completely unsustainable. She can sustain this.
Yeah.
It just requires a little bit more diligence. And she said, hey, this is what makes me happy. And who the hell am I to judge what makes somebody happy? So if she likes to be lean and have a six pack and she is willing to sacrifice, having meals out and having donuts, then who am I to say that you're living your life wrong? Like I'm a libertarian, so I don't judge other people for that kind of shit.
Right.
But if somebody says to me, if she had been complaining about low energy and all this other stuff, and she was having some binge episodes and all that kind of stuff, then we need to have a conversation about, hey, I know you want to stay lean, but this isn't really practical for you. You need to gain some body fat. One of the things that this is one of the things I have a little bit of a beef with like Eric and Alan and some other people, because I've challenged them on this a few times. I've never really gotten a clear answer.
Okay.
Because they say, well, after a diet, you should go back to maintenance. Are we talking about their current maintenance, their actual maintenance, or are we talking about what an equation says their maintenance should be? Because if we're talking about actual maintenance, then yeah, that should actually be an absolute minimum that you go back to. Like, of course.
Yeah.
If we're talking about what an equation predicts, which is going to be more than their actual maintenance, because we know from the studies on metabolic adaptation that at a minimum it's going to be a 10 to 15% reduction in metabolic rate over what physics predicts. If we're talking about that, then maybe that's okay, as long as you have that discussion with your client and you say, hey, you're going to gain some body fat. Are you okay with that? And also having the wherewithal to also say you need to gain some body fat in the case of certain people. Because some people are just, they're going to be at they're on 50 grams of carbohydrate a day at the end of a contest prep, and they want to do a conservative reverse, and they want, okay, we're going to start you at 80 grams of carbohydrate as a reverse. They're not going to be able to sustain it. So, and I think it's just very individual dependent. And I think, again, that's one of the things that I've changed around is the way I do things is that much more towards the individual based on a conversation that we have.
Gotcha. Maybe I'll get you and Eric on for a friendly debate at some point about it.
What's that?
Maybe I'll get you and Eric on for a friendly debate about it.
Yeah, I think that there's actually going to be a study done kind of using Eric's style and my style. It's not quite both, because with studies you have to be a little more limited in what you can do. But basically looking at aggressively increasing calories post-diet versus kind of doing it slowly and seeing what the differences are. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out. I mean, I don't think it's going to answer all the questions because it's just the first study done of its kind. But I think we'll get some interesting data from it.
One of you will get a little victory there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't, if I'm wrong, great. I mean, then that means I'm not doing shit the best I can do it. And, I can actually do stuff better. Like don't get me wrong, I like being right. I'll do cartwheels in my living room if I'm right. But, at the end of the day, I care more about getting the right answer than I do about being right, because, if I'm right about everything, then fuck, that means we're already doing stuff as good as we can, and what, Eliza will retire.